Welcome back. This is Before You Say I Do, and today we're going to be exploring one of the cornerstone elements of a healthy marriage, and that is setting boundaries. Should we be setting boundaries in marriages? Should couples be setting boundaries? Is there anything like boundaries in marriage? Well, we're going to find out all about that. And with me in the studio is Mrs. Marie-Rose Saki, an entrepreneur and a certified counselor. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm also fine, thank you.
All right, so let's talk about boundaries. Can you describe boundaries in the context of marriage?
Yes, boundaries are very necessary in marriage and generally, for life as well. Because if you don't have boundaries, people can encroach. People can just hurt you without, how do you call it, any restraint.
Right.
So when you set boundaries, it helps people to know how far they can go with you. And basically, when we say boundaries, what are we talking about? We are talking about the fact that boundaries is who I am, or what I am, and what I'm not.
Right.
Yes, what I am and what I'm not. That's your boundary. So it talks about your limits, how far you can go, what you can take, what you can't take, and all that. Right. So it's not like a boundary, when we talk about boundaries, sometimes you see some kind of a physical wall between houses. That's a boundary. You don't want somebody to encroach your property, so you put a wall there. You put a fence there. You put a hedge, flower hedge or something there. And that's how we come up with boundaries. And boundaries can also help a relationship to grow when you set the boundaries right. If you don't set it right, it can also lead to confusion and frustration in the relationship. So it is very important, like you said, is it necessary or do we have to? Yes, we have to set boundaries. You have to let your companion or your partner know who you are, what you can take, what you can't take, who you are not, and what, yes. So that is boundary. And it spans in different areas. In talking about boundaries, some of the things we think about is responsibility. Responsibilities, ownership, how far you can go. When you are setting boundaries, it means you are setting up responsibilities for yourself and for your partner. Because my boundaries with regards to what I think, my thoughts, my values, my beliefs, my faith, these are some of the areas of boundary you can set. Your faith tells you this and you can't go beyond that. You believe, because of your culture or wherever you're coming from, you believe in this and not that. So it sets the tone. So when you're even going into a marriage, your boundaries can decide or it can advise who you're going for. You look out for somebody who can accept you as you are and not force you or put you under any fear or grief for you to do anything.
Right.
You do it because you want to do it. And in talking about boundaries, you also talk about freedom. You have your freedom to choose to allow somebody in so much or put the person away at arm's length. You get what I mean? So
yes,
these are...
But in like, when it comes to Christianity, they say in marriage, a man and a woman becomes one. So now, how do you set those boundaries if we are one?
That's a very interesting question. One of the things we should understand, I've always said this and loved it, when people read that scripture, that the man and woman become one, they think that you are not fused. You know what fusion is? When you fuse something, they become, it mixes up to become one unit. It's not like that. You don't fuse. A man and woman becoming one is not fusion.
Yeah.
It's meeting of minds. It's agreement. It's coming to one level of thinking to understand. I don't eat meat. You eat fish. I believe that this is me. I can't go beyond that. When I eat meat, I react.
So don't take me anywhere there's meat.
Yes.
Yeah, or don't cook meat for me.
That's right. Don't bring meat to my house or something like that. So those are some of the boundaries you can set in your diet or whatever. You don't become one. Your mind becomes one. you agree. It says, if you talk about the Bible, Amos says something, can two walk except they agree? So we are agreeing that this is me, this is you. But that's where they say that we agree to disagree.
Right.
You know,
right.
so we agree on the fact that this is me. This is what I like. This is what I can take. This is what I can do. This is what I can do. And then you accept me for who I am. And then in talking about boundaries, you need a lot of respect.
Right, right.
Yes, to be able to accept the other person's boundaries. So respect, acceptance, that's non-judgmental acceptance. You accept me for who I am, for what I believe in, and all that. And then appreciation.
All right.
You appreciate me for who I am.
Right.
And then love.
Okay. So when do you think these conversations should happen? Do you think the conversations should happen before marriage or in the marriage?
Oh, it has to happen before marriage, in the marriage, and at any time when it is necessary.
Right.
Because sometimes people forget. And I always say we are human beings, we evolve, we change. So sometimes at one point I might not like something, but over the years I might change.
And
so
start
when
adapting.
yes, you have to be adaptable. You should be able to tell your partner that this is what communicated to your partner. Let your partner know in an open and honest way that this is how I've come. Maybe because we've traveled all this way, now I have a health challenge. I can't do certain things that I used to do. I can't go jumping around or maybe doing certain kind of set exercises that we used to do together, going for long walks, and now I can't do that. You have to accept me.
Right.
And then when you talk about boundaries too, let me bring this up. We have healthy boundaries and we have unhealthy boundaries.
Right.
And some of the healthy boundaries are some boundaries without limits. They are just open, you know. People can just come into your life and do anything. You don't know how to say no. You don't know how to say yes. Boundaries are about yes and no. I will do it. Yes, I will. No, I would not. You should be able to stick to these things.
No, I can't.
I can't. I will not do it. So these are some of the things. And then we have boundaries that are very porous. They're little boundaries, but they are not porous.
Yeah.
You can just go through. It's not really well defined.
So it's more like ambiguous. It's just there.
Yes,
So
yes,
think whatever you want to think of it.
That's right. And then we have some boundaries that are so rigid. It's unhealthy. I'm this and that's it. I'm an
alpha male. I'm an alpha male, so I make all the decisions in the house.
Exactly.
Yes.
I'm a square peg. I can't fit in a round hole and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just too rigid. It's unhealthy. Your healthy boundary should be such that it allows somebody to come in and go out in a respectable way. So they are evenly, you know, distributed. You should be able to think or negotiate or dialogue over your boundaries.
Right,
and then whenever you do that, your partner should be able to accept it, whether he doesn't like it or doesn't sound good to him, but that is what you can do.
All right.
And then you can negotiate sometimes if you think that something can be done about it.
So how can couples actually communicate their boundaries without conflict?
Yes. Sometimes, you know, communication is another thing. It depends on where you're coming from, how you're brought up and all that. But then knowing that you want to communicate, you don't just want to say things. You want to communicate. Communication is sending information and getting the feedback. You look for a good time and sit down with your partner, whether in a relationship or in the marriage, and talk about yourselves. Talk about yourself in the fact that this is how far I come. I think this is how I am. I think these are the things I've noticed, and it comes in different aspects. You know, marriage is multifaceted. So the different areas, your financials, your sexual, you know, some people sit there and say that your partner jumps on you and he wants to have, excuse me, anal sex with you. And you can't say no. You don't like anal sex. But then you, because he says, you are being cajoled. You are being put in a position of fear to do what you don't want to do.
Just because it's your partner.
Just because it's your partner.
Or just because you want to please him.
You want to please him. So you should be able to tell him that I don't believe in that. It's not part of my values or beliefs. So I'm sorry, I can't do that. Let's do something that is easy. You want to do something that is out of your partner, because your partner, he's your partner or your spouse or whatever, he wants you to do some business deal that you know that is not good, but you allow him to force you to swallow some things or do something. You get what I mean? And it's not going to help you. Just say that, no, I don't believe in that. Yes, I can do it. No, I can't do it. And these are some of the things that you have to look at. So sit down and have, like I said, open
conversation about it.
Be honest about it, but at being honest, you should be kind in all that you are doing. It's not that you are doing for selfish means, but you are doing it so that at the end of the day, both of you is a mutual thing.
Right.
So you all understand you're on the same plane, and then you are bringing these things, and not only you, but you get also your partner also to bring out what he thinks that are his boundaries, and then you can make sure that the love.
Okay, so as people evolve, marriages also evolve and relationships also evolve.
That's right.
Are there specific strategies or techniques that couples can actually use in renegotiating? Because you talked about renegotiating their boundaries.
Yes. I mean, you know how we have pep talks and all that. Sometimes you can do what I personally call like open forum with your partner. From time to time, you should be able to sit down and talk serious matters. It's not all the time that you talk about fun, sweet nothings. There's that time there. There's a time when you can joke and have fun and say sweet nothings. You know, oh, I love you, you are the most gorgeous person. You know, that day she's not looking nice, but it's, oh, that's my wife and her hair, or that's my husband and his this, whatever. Then laugh over it. And there are times that you also have to sit down and talk seriously. Talk seriously about because your boundaries is about your feelings, your attitudes, you know, and your behavior. That's what boundaries, it's all these things. How you feel, your attitude towards things, and your behavior. So the way you behave, maybe you behave and you come and then you throw things on the floor. You go to the washroom, the seat, every time you put it up. It's a behavior. There should be boundaries. You can't do that. You are not living alone. There's certain things that you have to consider the other person that you are living with. So you can come to a negotiation or to a bargain. A bargain is where you don't win, I don't win, or you win, I win. Both of us, we come to a middle line. Right. And so you talk about it and ensure that at the end of the day, you have a healthy environment that will help the love to grow in the marriage.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation on setting boundaries before you say, I do. Welcome back. It's Before You Say I Do right here on Citi TV, and if you're listening, it's 97.3 Citi FM. Once more, I want to say a very big thank you to our sponsors, Dano Milk and GTP. All right, and we are actually having a conversation on setting boundaries in relationships, and obviously, just like the name of the show implies, Before You Say I Do, this actually helps you to navigate some of these problems before you actually walk the aisle. And yeah, we were talking about, types of boundaries earlier on. So let's talk about personal boundaries, right? I, for example, like my personal space. I like my alone time. I thrive in my alone time. So imagine in a relationship with someone that is clingy and doesn't understand, okay, I need an alone time sometimes. That baby, give me that break sometimes. How do we respect each other's alone time? Or how do I make him respect my alone time?
Yeah, thank you very much. You've gone into a marriage as an agreement or a decision the two of you have made to come together. Now you are still two individuals coming together to be a couple. Right. So we have the couple and then the individuals in the couple. And so there are certain things that as couples you do together. You sleep on the same bed, sometimes you eat together, sometimes not. You might decide to bathe together. You know, you might decide to even use one car so that you always ride together and all that. But aside that, you have your individuality. There are things that you would like to enjoy, especially you're talking about your alone time. You like your space where you thrive, where you make all your plans and all that
and
kind of thing.
re-energize.
Yes, and re-energize yourself. So in that case, there are maybe 2 things that you can do. You can communicate it to your partner that I love to be alone sometimes. And maybe there's some people, they are so clingy, they always want to be with you. So you have to choose a good time so that you don't compromise what you want with regards to your partner. You want your alone time. Is it going to be the weekend, or is it going to be the evenings, or whatever? Definitely there will be a pocket time when your partner would not be around. And I think you have to in order to bring peace and harmony in the home and all that, look for that opportunity, that window when he's away, and then you can have your time. Yeah. Rather than wait when the time, because you'll be going to work and all that. Time is very scarce. We don't have a lot of time on our hands. Maybe you're working 5 days a week, or maybe even 6 days a week. He has only 1 day to spend time with you, and then when he comes and he say that, you know, I love my
cuddles,
my alone time. I want my alone time. I want my space. So, and he wants the cuddles, because this is the time that I want to spend with you. We have only this Sunday. What do we do? So you have to look for, in the 6 days, maybe you close early, you come home early, or something, or an opportunity where he goes out without you, and then you catch up with yourself and enjoy yourself, rather than the time that you all know that this is what we have together. Right. Now you want to use the time that we have together to do what is for you as an individual, which might not help the relationship. So we have to be very considerate about that, and then respect. But and still, in that situation, you still have to let your partner know that you love your space, right? So that when he knows that sometimes you want to be by yourself, right, he would respect.
So for those who can afford, do you think it's important to have different rooms? Still on alone time, you know?
Yeah, I don't subscribe to that, because different rooms can sometimes, breed, in relationship, we are not always on the same tangent or on the same plane. Right. We are humans. It's like the tongue and the teeth. They are always conflicting, but they stay at the same place. So if you go, decide to be in your room, and then I'm in my room, now even some people, it's a concept, especially in the outside world, where people think that, okay, you stay at where you are, let me also stay at where I am. When we are in good mood, then we meet to avoid conflict. But that is not humans. We are social beings. In our conflicts and resolutions, we find better planes and find the betterment of ourselves. So if you say you want to only wait till when you're in a good mood, what if that good mood never comes? Right. Because maybe you go to work and you're upset and all that, blah, 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 blah. So I personally don't subscribe to being in your room. But what some people do is that they can have 2 rooms. You know how women will have too many things? Yes. And we have... and so you can have your room where you have all your odds and ends there, but then you spend the night in one room on one bed. Even double beds, I don't subscribe, because when there's a conflict and then you are separated like that, if you don't take it
lingers on.
Yes, but once you're on the same bed, you sleep, by all means, a part of you will touch. It makes life a little bit easier. Yeah, and then solving issues.
All right. So what are emotional boundaries?
Emotional boundaries. Emotional boundaries basically has to do with your emotions, how you feel. Sometimes you are happy, sometimes you are sad, and all that. Some people, when they are happy, they want everybody to be part of their, and then they'll be, oh, come and see. They are pulling you. You are not in that mood, and they want to push you into their mood. Once again, let them understand nicely. Oh, I am happy for you. I'm so happy that this thing has happened to you, or that. But right now, how I'm feeling is this way. Communicate it once again, and let the person know. If yours is you are sad, and some people too, when they are in a bad mood, it can linger on and on and on, and then you shut out the person. Like I said, healthy boundaries, you allow in and out, in and out. It has to be very healthy. There should be a gate, some access point where you can go in and out, because if you build a wall around your house and there's no gate, how do you go out? Right. You can't go out and you can't come in. So there should be some kind of an opening where you can go out and come in, and that's how a healthy boundary is. So you want to have your little time emotionally. You feel some way. You want to have your time. but then don't hold on to that time for too long. Be considerate, and then you come out. If you won't come out yourself, allow somebody to come in sometimes, to come and rub your back, tell the person, oh, I feel so sad, I went to work today, this thing happened, and blah, blah, blah. And if your partner is that type of person who would want, oh, sorry, my sweetheart, and rub you on your back or try and scratch your head or something, enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Life is to be lived in the moment. Now, in our world, it's so stressful. So when we are all about what I want to get in the future, I want to be this, I'm going to be that, I want to be that, and we are all living in the future. We don't live in the moment, so it builds a lot of stress on us. But if you allow the moment and enjoy the moment and smell all the roses around, boundaries will not be that rigid or will not be that porous, but will be very considerate of each other, respecting what each other is. He needs you, she needs me. Okay, let me take a little time off and give her time. Then I go back to what I'm doing.
Right.
It's all about negotiation, like I say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in a very typical African setting, society has made it in such a way that women or girls are always trained to be wives, and that also includes you have to do what your husband says you should do, so you be a good wife. You have to do everything he says
Submit.
to. Yeah, you understand. So you be a good wife. So that's what a lot of women have been hearing from the time they were kids. Is that how to keep it? Is that how you will act when you go to your husband's house? You understand? So it's in their mind that, okay, I have to be this for this man. Now, with that kind of influence, when it comes to intimate and physical boundaries, a lot of people find it hard to discuss. They don't even realize that they are actually supposed to have those boundaries. Earlier on, you spoke about, you know, if a man or a husband to be wants anal sex, and you are not that kind of person. This kind of person that is in, you know, that have been programmed to believe you can do anything just for the man, how will she now reprogram her mind to say, okay, you know what? I think I deserve better. I think, you know, as we're entering these marriages, there are some things I can't really do. Yes. You understand? How does that kind of person now communicate her intimacy and physical boundaries to this man that she might probably want to get married to?
That's a very good question. In actual fact, you know, in our society today, or in societies in general, people are raised up in different ways. The way you are brought up, like you said, you are groomed to believe that you have to do this for the man, you have to do that for the man. So some people are not even aware. We have certain types of boundary people. There's some people they are controlling. There's some people they only control. They only complain. Yeah. They don't know no. Even when you say no, they are doing it.
They are doing it and they're murmuring.
Yes, they are the controllers. Yeah. When you are telling them no, they are and then we have the complainers who all they know is that you say yes and then they are there, and then they'll be complaining every time they'll say yes. They don't know how to say no. When they can't do it, they say yes, and then they'll be complaining. And then we have people who they call avoiders. They are unaware of their situation. They don't even know. They don't know whether I have to say yes or no.
They don't even know if they might be emotionally abused and
about
stuff
everything.
like that.
Yes, and they find themselves in situations like so. They don't even know, for a want of a better word, they don't even know their rights. They don't
in
even
the
know,
relationship.
Yes, they don't know what is expected of them. That is the reason why it's very important to have premarital counseling, so that you have some enlightenment. You know, you go in with knowledge, because knowledge is strength. But when you go in and you don't know anything, you've lived at home, all you know is mommy, daddy, and your siblings. Then suddenly you live and go, and what you have observed in your house and probably your neighborhood, that is what you are taking into marriage. You don't know anything. So you go and you know that they said that you go to church, they say that a woman submits to the man and the man is supposed to love the wife. That's all that you know. So when you go, you don't know that you can negotiate. Things are changing. And apart from that, even when you go into the scripture, the man submit, woman submitting and man loving and all that. That's why they say that God took the woman from the side of the man, so that she will be a helpmate. It's an egalitarian thing. It is not like that kind of
slave master kind of setting.
Yes. So, but we have to do it respectfully. It's not that because I can speak my mind, so you talk the man off or something like that. But it should be done honestly and truthfully and kindly. Tell him that I don't know about this. I'm not that type. I can't take this. Let him know who you are.
Right.
That's the reason why we have courtship before you marry.
Right.
So the person should know how far you can go and how far you can't go. In that period, it helps you to be able to learn self-control, sexual self-control and all that kind of thing. But then if you throw it out there for the man,
he won't grasp.
Yes, and then you get into the marriage and you want to change your story.
Right, right. Okay, so lastly, in 30 seconds, digital boundaries. I mean, everybody's using phones right now, so we're all living a digital lifestyle. How important is that?
It's quite important. I know there's sometimes, especially wives, and some husbands, they snoop around and looking on their spouse's phone and all that kind of thing. But I don't think it's good. It's about trust. You have to trust your partner to do the right. Don't snoop because you are looking for something to hold against the person. But if you have that kind of, there's some people, they are very free. So they have each other's access to each other's email.
Some people even
share one phone. They share one email, everything. It's a different story. But if you are going in there with that mind, that evil mind that this girl, then it means you don't even trust the person. So we should desist from that. If you are going in there, go in there because I want information and I want the information to do something good. All right. But not to pin the person down.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've been speaking to Mrs. Marie Rose Saki. She's an entrepreneur and a certified counselor. And of course, we've been speaking on mastering the art of setting boundaries in marriage. I hope this helped because this was a very important conversation. I really enjoyed it and I hope you enjoyed it too. A very big thank you to our sponsors once more, GTP and Dano Milk. It's time for me to go right now. I will see you in our next episode of Before You Say I Do.